Hi there guys, and here's the start of the second update for the TIE Fighter, and this is one of the wing panels with the outer detailed section glued in place. That's still setting, but you can see how much detail there is there if I rotate that around so it catches the light. Lots and lots of nice raised panel detail and lots going on there. So when I do give that a bit of a pin wash, and likewise on the inner, that should come up really nicely and show up really nicely. Like the TIE Interceptor, I don't know if I said Interceptor, this is the TIE Fighter, but like the TIE Interceptor, I won't be gluing the fuselage halves. That just give you a comparison between the Interceptor half and the Fighter half. And you can see again regarding the scale discrepancy that I mentioned. I won't be gluing the fuselage halves of the TIE Fighter until I have painted and detailed the cockpit, which this is glued, unlike the TIE Interceptor. This one is actually glued, and I won't be using the fighter pilot, so that will be sort of detailed out, but it's not just going to be straightforward detailed, it's going to be dirtied up quite a bit for reasons that will become clear shortly. And then once that's done, that will be fitted into the fuselage halves, and I will be, like the TIE Interceptor, I'll be squishing these halves together, getting a good joint seam and trying to clean that up as best as possible. And then I will, once the glass and the lid and everything's fitted, then I will prime the body, but I will be able to prime the wing panels, solar panels and the wings, along with the cockpit and what have you as I do that. So that's progressing quite rapidly. Again, like the Interceptor kit, there seems to be more parts than there actually is when you start getting it together. The stand I've assembled down here, and although this stand is actually for this kit and it sits on there like so and is swivelable, which is nice, I won't be using it for this kit because I've got the intention for this kit is to do a scene in inverted commas. I don't know how well that's going to go because it'll be the first time I've had a go at anything like that. So what I'm probably going to do is drill a little hole in the TIE Interceptor base and use this stand for the TIE Interceptor, which is going to be a straight build. So the next stage in the TIE Fighter is similar to the Interceptor, and you can see that I have built and primed the, I'll bring that up a little closer and focus in for you. I've built and primed the cockpit and chair and everything in NATO black as per the other one. I'm not going to be picking out any details particularly on this. I might do a little bit of metal on the front there, but I'm not going to be picking out any details specifically in this, and I'm not doing the pilot as mentioned for reasons that will become apparent very shortly. And all those bits are ready to be buttoned up. The next bit is the important bit of the build, and at this point we need a bit of an announcement. We now have a brief intermission and service announcement on behalf of Spiddy Q8 models. The following scenes may prove upsetting for viewers of a nervous disposition and Empire fanboys. Please be sure that you have understood these conditions before you continue. Thank you. So the next step of the TIE Fighter build, as you can see, leaves us with some very damaged wings, hence the warning to let you know that it may be disturbing to Empire fanboys and viewers of a nervous disposition, and indeed anybody that dislikes seeing unnecessary abuse to styrene from kit boxes. Though I will say, in this case, it was very necessary indeed for the end result that I have in mind, and those of you who have seen The Force Awakens will probably realise, just from looking at these wings, what the aim of this build, the outcome, is intended to be. And I am indeed going to be building my very first diorama, in fact, and it is going to be the crash landed, damaged TIE Fighter that Finn and Poe elope to Jakku in. So, ooh, controversial. So yes, as you can see, what I've done there is I have looked at pictures, still shots from the movie, and it gave me a great excuse to rewatch the movie again, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And I have tried to replicate the damage as good as I'm possibly able to. The only side I haven't damaged much is this particular wing, which is the left-hand wing, because that's going to be partly buried in the sand of Jakku at an angle like so, whereas this one is going to be upright and attached to the TIE fighter like so. So while I approach this with some initial trepidation and worry about actually damaging a kit part, because I've never actually damaged a kit part prior to painting and assembling. As a kid, I used to build model aeroplanes, and I would put bullet holes and battle damage in after I'd built them and had got bored with flying them around and propellers had fallen off and what have you. So I used to try and sort of do battle damage ones using a pin over a candle flame and punching holes in the fuselage and that kind of thing, which was great fun. The kind of thing that kids these days would never be allowed to do, most likely. And I could say it never did me any harm, but you know, who am I to judge? I suppose, you know, maybe better asking my therapist on that score. But so this is the first time I've deliberately damaged parts prior to painting. And I have to say, I approached this with some initial trepidation and a razor saw and some needle nose pliers. And after the initial sort of attacking of the wing parts, I found that it was actually thoroughly enjoyable. And I can fully imagine that I'm going to be doing more things like this in the future, because it was really, really interesting trying to replicate the damage that you see on the screen. So that's where we're at with this. The next step, of course, is going to be buttoning up the fuselage. This is the reason I haven't detailed the interior, because it's going to be smoke stained and what have you, so you're really going to see very, very little inside the cabin. And obviously this is also the reason I haven't used the pilot. So I need to figure out what I'm going to use as a base, and I'm not 100% sure on that yet, and figure out how I'm going to do the sand part of it. I've got a few ideas, but I'm not 100% sure. And I've also got some ideas to try and replicate the smoke that's coming out of the cockpit of the TIE fighter, and that's going to be a first attempt at this kind of thing as well. So we'll see how that all goes. And I've saved most of the larger pieces of the wing, as you can see down here, and a few fragments of the smaller ones, so I will paint these up and these will be scattered around the sand area. And the next step is buttoning up the fuselage and getting some paint over the fuselage and wing areas.